So there's this term, right? And the term is the thermostat. And how this term goes is whenever you heat up too much, just naturally your subconscious mind is going to want to bring you back down. It's kind of like the thermostat at your house, right? If it gets too cold or if it gets too hot, the heat or the air are going to kick on to regulate things and bring you back down to your baseline. So I tell you this to let you know that this month we're heating up, right? We're going to a level that we've never been to before. And when you get to a level that you've never been to before, just naturally, you subconsciously are going to bring yourself back down. It's just natural, right? Maybe you find yourself eating healthy all damn week and all of a sudden you're craving a burger. And you really don't want a burger, but you feel like because you haven't had a fucking cheeseburger in 2 weeks, you deserve a cheeseburger, right? And there's nothing wrong with working hard and playing hard. The problem here is when you work hard and you heat yourself up and then you bring yourself all the way back down and just kill your progress, right? So how do we alleviate this? How do we raise our thermostat temperature so that we don't come back to being the same fucked up person we always been? How do we do that shit? We do that shit through reps because leadership happens daily. It doesn't happen in a day. So during this challenge, during life, as you're growing, as you're going through this thing called life, your job is to show up every single day and to show up. It's kind of like you're being born, you're being reborn every single day you wake up, and your goal, your job is to make sure that you're taking it up a notch. And when life throws something at you, you have to remember what you're doing it for. If you don't have enough reasons why you're elevating, why you're leveling up, like really internal, soulful reasons, you're always going to come back to where you've always been. And quite frankly, you know where you've always been. And I'm sure you don't want to be there anymore, right? But not wanting to be there is not enough. That's not going to guarantee that things are going to change. What's going to guarantee things are going to change is having systems in place. So what you need to do is you need to identify your weaknesses. You got to identify where maybe you go wrong. You have to remove distractions out of your life. It's one thing to have willpower. That's cool and all. But why fight the unnecessary battle? If you know that you can't control yourself around that bag of chips, maybe stop buying that motherfucker, right? Because you keep buying it and you're fighting this battle of willpower, and sometimes you might lose. And when you lose the battle, you kill all your fucking progress. All that shit goes down the drain. So here, what we're going to start doing is we're going to set a new standard for ourselves. And in order to uphold and maintain that new standard, we have to build a new life around it. And we have to build systems, put these systems in place. How do you put systems in place? Number one is you have to make it easy. Like we just said, we don't want to fight that willpower battle. Number two is you need an end goal, right? You need to give yourself a time frame in which you're going to elevate. Because if you're like, oh, I'm just going to do this for the rest of my life, our brain don't really recognize that shit. And our brain's going to check out. It don't matter how much willpower you have. If there's no finish line to whatever your task or duty is, then just by nature, you're going to revert back to who you've always been. So you got to give yourself a time frame. Over the course of this next 30 days, I'm going to lock in. I'm going to make sure that I'm not eating processed sugars during the week. I'm going to make sure that each and every day I wake up and I practice gratitude. I'm going to make sure that each and every day I get a notebook, put that pen to paper, and I write the things that I'm grateful for. I'm going to make sure that I get my planner out and I have a schedule for my day, so I'm not just letting life live me. I'm living my life. You feel me? So if you're having a bad day, or if you're ever, in a downward spiral, you have something to fall back on. What you got to do is you got to build a solid foundation for yourself. And over time, that foundation is going to grow stronger and stronger. And the odds of you dropping down back to that baseline are much lower. You feel me? So we're here to elevate. We're here to raise our temperature. It's too easy to play small ball. It's too easy to be the worst version of yourself. And quite frankly, it costs a whole lot. It costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of stress. It costs a lot of friendships. love. It costs a whole lot more to be a fucked up version of yourself. But it's priceless when you're leveling up each and every single day. So that's what you got to do. You got to lock in. You got to be that inspiration, that motivation for somebody. Before we get out of here, I want to tell you a quick story. Yesterday, I had this meeting, right, with an executive. And I had this plan going into the meeting because this meeting could change my life, right? And when it got time to have the meeting, I'm on camera with this guy, and he was like, well, what do you want from me? And my dumb ass was like, yo, I want this, and that. And let's just say that I blundered the meeting, right? Everything kind of just went down the toilet. And I realized afterwards, like, shit, like, I let myself down, right? Because I didn't show up the way that I wanted to. I didn't make that human connection. I wasn't myself. I kind of turned my back on all the personal development work that I do. And I was feeling terrible. So what I did in response was I didn't want to cry. So I went and I exercised, right? I worked out. I read my book. I journaled a bit. And I said, you know what? That was a learning experience. And then I listed out everything that I learned from that experience. And I internalized that shit. And that's what I expect you to do. When you have bad days, when you have these bad moments, I want you to snap yourself out of that shit, because the thermostat is gonna bring your ass right the fuck down. Snap your ass out of that shit. Get right, go for a walk, talk to a friend, do whatever you need to do. And then I want you to pull information out of that experience. What did you learn? What did you gain from that experience? And how can you better yourself going forward? This is what's gonna make that foundation stronger. It's kind of like your muscles, right? You lift weights, your muscles rip and they break down and all of this stuff, right? But they come back and they're stronger and they're more defined and they're better, well equipped for that next exercise and that next workout. But the work needs to be put in regardless. Okay? That thermostat is gonna try and bring you down. It's a guarantee. But it's up to you if you want that to happen or if you don't want it to happen. I'm gonna catch you on the next one.